Admiral Hyun-woo Park stood at the giant window of Earth's command center, watching the blue planet spin slowly below. The sight usually made him feel calm, but not today. Today, everything would change. Behind him, the emergency meeting room, buzzed with worried voices. Earth's top leaders sat around a long table, their faces tight with fear. The message from the Galactic Empire had arrived just 3 hours ago. It was the worst demand they had ever received. "Read it again," Admiral Park said without turning around. Ambassador Ye-rim Choi cleared her throat. Her hands shook as she held the golden tablet that contained the Empire's message. The High Council of the Galactic Dominion commands Earth to provide the following within 30 days. 80% of all military ships, half of all human population between ages 18 and 35, all mining rights to the outer planets. Failure to comply will result in complete destruction of Earth. Silence filled the room. Admiral Park finally turned to face the others. His gray hair was cut short, military style. His dark eyes showed no fear, only cold anger. 60 years, he said quietly. For 60 years we have given them what they wanted, our best metals, our smartest people, our strongest soldiers, and still they want more. Dr. So-Jin Kim, Earth's top scientist who studied alien life, stood up. She was younger than most others in the room, but her voice was steady. "Admiral, I have something to tell you all, something I discovered during my visits to other worlds." She pressed a button on her tablet. A map of the galaxy appeared on the big screen. Hundreds of star systems were marked in red. "These are worlds that used to have life," Dr. Kim said. "I visited 12 of them. The Empire told us these planets were destroyed by wars or natural disasters. That was a lie." The room grew even quieter. Admiral Park walked closer to the screen. "What really happened to them?" he asked. Dr. Kim's voice dropped to almost a whisper. "The Empire took everything. All the people, all the animals, all the plants. They stripped planets completely clean, then moved to the next ones. The Empire is not just ruling the galaxy, they are eating it." Captain Dong-Ha Lee, one of Earth's best starship commanders, slammed his fist on the table. "Those monsters! How many worlds have they destroyed?" "Thousands," Dr. Kim replied. "Maybe tens of thousands. And Earth is next on their list. This demand for half our population. They are not taking people to be soldiers. They are taking them to be food." The horror of this truth hit everyone at once. Several people started talking at the same time, their voices full of panic. "Quiet!" Admiral Park's voice cut through the noise like a knife. "Dr. Kim, are you absolutely sure about this?" She nodded. "I have video proof, audio recordings, documents I stole from Imperial computers. Admiral, they have been planning to harvest Earth for 20 years. They only kept us alive this long because we make good workers and soldiers for them." Ambassador Choi looked sick. "All those diplomatic meetings, all those treaties, they were just playing with us." "Yes, Doctor," Kim said, "and now they are ready to finish the job." Admiral Park walked back to the window. Below him, Earth looked so peaceful. Green continents, white clouds, blue oceans. Soon, if the Empire had their way, it would all be gone. "What are our options?" he asked. General Tae-ho Bay, head of Earth's ground forces, spoke up. "We could try to run, load as many people as possible onto ships, and escape to deep space." "Where would we go?" Captain Lee asked. "The Empire controls most of the galaxy. They would hunt us down. We could surrender." Ambassador Choi said quietly, "Give them what they want and hope they show mercy." Dr. Kim shook her head. "There is no mercy. I have seen what they do. Surrender means death, just slower and more painful." Admiral Park turned back to face them. "There is a third option." Everyone looked at him. His face was hard as stone. "We fight." Captain Lee laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Admiral, with respect, they have thousands of ships. We have 37. They have weapons that can destroy planets. We have weapons that can barely scratch their shields. Maybe, Admiral Park said, but they think we are weak and stupid. They think we will give up easily. That might be their mistake. He walked to the front of the room and pressed his hands on the table. Dr. Kim, what do you know about their military tactics? She thought for a moment. They are very good at big battles with many ships, but they always fight the same way. They never expect enemies to try new things. Also, they rely too much on their computers to make decisions. Admiral Park nodded. And what about their psychology? How do they think? They believe they are superior to everyone else, Dr. Kim said. They have conquered so many worlds that they think they cannot lose. They will not expect real resistance from us. Good. Admiral Park looked around the room. I want to ask you all a question. Do you want to die as free humans or live as slaves until they decide to kill us anyway? One by one, each person in the room said the same thing. They would rather die free. Admiral Park smiled for the first time that day. Then we are going to do something that will shock the entire galaxy. Dr. Kim, I want you to prepare all your evidence about the Empire's crimes. Make sure every world in the galaxy can see it. What are you planning? Ambassador Choi asked. Admiral Park walked to the communications console. I am going to send a message that will change everything. He activated the system that could broadcast to every Imperial world at once. This was supposed to be used only for surrendering or begging for mercy. This is Admiral Hyunwoo Park of the Terran Defense Force, speaking for all humanity, he said into the microphone. His voice was calm, but firm. The Galactic Empire has demanded that Earth surrender half its population and most of its military. We refuse. He paused, knowing that billions of beings across the galaxy were listening. Furthermore, by the authority of the people of Earth, I declare that all Imperial vessels are banned from entering the solar system. Any Imperial ship that crosses into our space will be destroyed immediately. We will not negotiate. We will not surrender. We will not run away. The room was completely silent. Everyone knew there was no going back now. The Empire has lied too. The galaxy, Admiral Park continued. They are not protectors. They are destroyers. They have murdered entire worlds. Earth will not be next. This message ends now. Imperial ships, stay away from our home. He turned off the transmitter. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Captain Lee started clapping. Soon everyone was clapping and cheering. They all knew they would probably die, but they would die fighting, and the galaxy would know that humans were not afraid. Fleet Admiral Gyumin Yoon of the Galactic Empire laughed as he read the human message again. He was sitting in his command chair on the bridge of his massive warship, the Star Crusher. Around him, 200 Imperial ships moved through space toward the small yellow star that humans called Sol. Did you hear what these humans said? He asked his officers. They think they can fight us. His second-in-command, Captain Vexistar, made a sound that was like laughing in his alien language. Humans are amusing, Admiral. They have such big dreams for such a small species. Admiral Yoon nodded. The High Council was right to send us. This will be easy work. One quick battle, and the humans will remember their place. He looked at the tactical display. His fleet was the Empire's third enforcement fleet, famous for crushing rebellions. They had destroyed the resistance on 47 worlds. The humans would be number 48. Admiral, called the communications officer. We are receiving a transmission from the human ship Indomitable. They are asking us to turn around and leave. Show it on screen, Admiral Yoon said. He wanted to see the fear in human eyes. The screen lit up, showing the bridge of a human warship. A human male, in a blue uniform, stood in the center. His nameplate read, Captain Dong-Ha Lee. The human looked calm, which surprised Admiral Yoon. Imperial Fleet, Captain Lee said. This is your final warning. Leave our space now, or we will attack. Admiral Yoon stood up. Human, I am Fleet Admiral Yoon of the 3rd Enforcement Fleet. You have 30 seconds to surrender before we destroy you. Captain Lee smiled. We do not surrender. The transmission ended. Admiral Yoon stared at the empty screen. In 60 years of dealing with humans, he had never seen one smile before a battle. Something is wrong, he said quietly. Admiral? Captain Vexitar asked. Admiral Yoon shook his head. Nothing. Begin the attack. The Imperial fleet spread out in their standard formation. It was the same formation they always used. 5 groups of 40 ships each, moving in a pattern that had won every battle for 300 years. On his sensors, Admiral Yoon could see the human ships. Only 37 vessels, tiny compared to his mighty fleet. They should be running away or begging for mercy. Instead, they were moving forward. Human ships are approaching fast, reported the sensor officer. Wait, Admiral, these readings cannot be correct. What is wrong? Admiral Yoon demanded. The human ships are moving, together perfectly. Every ship is turning at exactly the same time, down to the microsecond. Their formation is tighter than anything I have ever seen. Admiral Yoon frowned. Impossible. No species can coordinate like that during battle. Check your instruments. I have checked 3 times, Admiral. The readings are correct. The human ships reached weapons range. Admiral Yoon expected them to spread out and try to hit his fleet from different angles. That was what every enemy did. Instead, all 37 human ships suddenly turned as one and fired at the same target. Every beam, every missile, every weapon hit the exact same spot on Admiral Yoon's lead ship. The Imperial vessel exploded instantly. What just happened? Admiral Yoon shouted. They focused all their fire on one target, Captain Vexitar said. His voice was confused. But how did they all aim at the same spot? There was no communication between their ships. The human ships turned again, still moving like they were parts of one giant machine. Again, every weapon fired at the same target. Another Imperial ship died. Return fire, Admiral Yoon ordered. His fleet fired their weapons. Thousands of energy. Beams and missiles flew toward the human ships. The humans should have been destroyed completely. Instead, every human ship moved at the exact same moment. They twisted and turned through space, dodging the Imperial weapons like they knew exactly where each shot would go. Not one human ship was hit. Impossible! Admiral Yoon screamed. They cannot predict our weapons! But they could. Somehow, the humans knew exactly what the Imperial fleet would do before they did it. When Admiral Yoon ordered his ships to move left, the humans were already shooting where his ships would be. When he ordered them to retreat, the humans were waiting for them. Captain Lee's voice came over the communications again. Imperial Fleet, you are fighting the Terran Defense Force. We are not like the enemies you have faced before. What are you? Admiral Yoon demanded. We are human, Captain Lee replied simply. The battle continued. But it was not really a battle. It was a slaughter. The Imperial ships, for all their powerful weapons and strong shields, fought like they were blind and deaf. The human ships moved like they could see the future. Major Ji-No watched the battle from Luna Base, Earth's moon. She commanded the special forces that protected the base, but the space battle was so one-sided that she did not think ground forces would be needed. How are they doing it? She asked Engineer Wu Jin Han, who stood beside her in the command center. Engineer Han smiled. He was a thin man with thick glasses, but his smile was proud. Something we have been working on for 20 years, ever, since the Empire first contacted us. What kind of something? Do you remember the old stories about twins who could feel each other's thoughts? Engineer Han asked. We made that real. Every human pilot in the fleet is connected to every other pilot through quantum entanglement. Major No did not understand all the science words, but she understood the result. They share thoughts? More than that. They share everything. When one pilot sees an enemy ship, all pilots see it instantly. When one pilot has an idea, All pilots have the same idea at the same moment. The Imperial fleet is not fighting 37 ships. They are fighting one ship with 37 bodies. On the screen, another Imperial vessel exploded, then another, then 5 more at once. The Empire thinks they are fighting individual ships, Engineer Han continued, but human ships do not think as individuals during battle. We think as one mind. That is why we can predict their moves. That is why we never miss. That is why they cannot hit us. Admiral Yoon's mighty fleet was falling apart. Ships exploded every few seconds. His carefully planned formations were useless because the humans somehow knew exactly what he would do next. "Admiral!" Captain Vexitar shouted. "We have lost over half the fleet! We must retreat!" Admiral Yoon stared at the tactical display. In 30 minutes of fighting, he had lost 120 ships. The humans had lost 0. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We are the greatest military force in the galaxy. We have conquered thousands of worlds. How can these primitives defeat us?" His ship shook as human weapons hit it. The humans had finally decided to target his flagship. "Shields failing?" called an officer. "Engines damaged," called another. Admiral Yoon knew he was about to die. His last transmission went out to the entire Imperial fleet. "All ships retreat immediately. Send a message to the High Council. Tell them, we do not understand what humans are. They are not like any species we have ever fought. They are not individuals. They are something else." The Star Crusher exploded in a ball of fire. Captain Lee watched the last Imperial ship die. Around him, his crew was cheering, but he remained calm. The quantum link that connected all human pilots was still active, so he could feel the emotions of every pilot in the fleet: joy, relief, pride, and something else: determination. "This was just the beginning," he said to his crew. "The Empire will send more ships, bigger fleets. We showed them we can fight, but now they know we are dangerous. The real war starts now." He opened a channel to Admiral Park back on Earth. "Admiral, the Imperial fleet has been destroyed. No human casualties, but we need to prepare for what comes next." Admiral Park's voice came back strong and clear. "Well done, Captain. The galaxy is watching. Every world that has suffered under the Empire now knows that humans do not give up. Some of them might decide to join us." Captain Lee smiled. For 60 years, humans had been afraid of the Empire. Now the Empire would learn to be afraid of humans. The battle was over, but the war for freedom had just begun. Intelligence Officer Mi Young-shin floated in her small scout ship, hidden behind an asteroid in the Kepler system. Through her ship's sensors, she watched Imperial supply ships moving between planets. This was her 15th mission behind enemy lines, and she had never been caught. Her job was to find the Empire's weak points. After the destruction of the Third Enforcement Fleet, Admiral Park knew the Empire would send even bigger forces. Earth needed every advantage they could get. "Pattern complete," she whispered into her recorder. "Imperial logistics follow the same routes every time. No imagination, no changes, perfect for ambush." She was about to leave when something strange appeared on her sensors. A massive ship was approaching the system, but it was not Imperial design. The ship was old, very old, and it looked like it was built by beings who understood technology far better than the Empire. Mi Young had found something important. 3 days later, she sat in the briefing room on Earth showing her discovery to the command staff. Admiral Park, Dr. Kim, Captain Lee, and others studied the images on the big screen. "That ship," Dr. Kim said, pointing at the strange vessel. "I have seen designs like that before. These are the architects, the beings who give the Empire their advanced technology." Commander Jae-sung Kwon, leader of Earth's newest attack group, leaned forward. "You mean the Empire does not make their own weapons?" "No," Dr. Kim replied. "The Empire conquered many worlds, but they were never very smart about technology. The architects provide everything: ships, weapons, computers. Without the architects, the Empire would still be fighting with primitive tools. Admiral Park saw the opportunity immediately. If we can disrupt their relationship with the architects, the Empire becomes much weaker. But how? Captain Lee asked. We know almost nothing about these architects. Dr. Sun-Hee Lim, Earth's expert on ancient alien cultures, stood up. She was an older woman who had spent her life studying ruins on distant worlds. I might know something, she said. Admiral, I request permission to visit the Kepler system. I need to see that architect ship myself. Admiral Park nodded. Granted. But take an escort. Commander Quan, I want you to try something new. Instead of attacking Imperial military targets, I want you to hit their slave worlds. Sir? Commander Quan looked confused. The Empire controls hundreds of worlds by force, Admiral Park explained. The people on those worlds hate their Imperial masters. If we can free some of those worlds, they might join us. Dr. Kim smiled. A rebellion could spread across the galaxy. Exactly. But we need to be smart about this. We are not conquerors like the Empire. We are liberators. Make sure every species we free understands that we want to help them, not rule them. 2 weeks later, Commander Quan's strike force hit its first target. The planet Vexta had been enslaved by the Empire for 50 years. The people there were forced to mine rare metals for Imperial ships. The attack was over in minutes. Commander Quan's ships used the same quantum-linked tactics that had destroyed the Third Enforcement Fleet. The Imperial garrison never had a chance. But the real surprise came when Commander Quan landed on the planet's surface. He expected to find grateful slaves ready to join the human cause. Instead, he found people who were afraid of him. Please, said the Vestan leader, a tall being with 4 arms and green skin. Do not hurt us. We will mine the metals for you, just like we did for the Empire. Commander Quan was shocked. We are not here to enslave you. We are here to free you. The Vestan leader looked confused. Free us? What does that mean? It means you can make your own choices, Commander Quan explained. You can decide what to do with your planet. You do not have to work for anyone unless you want to. The Vextans stared at him like he was speaking a foreign language. After 50 years of slavery, they had forgotten what freedom looked like. Commander. Quan spent 3 days on Vexta teaching the people how to be free again. He showed them how to organize their own government. He gave them weapons to defend themselves. Most importantly, he gave them something they had not had in decades: hope. When he left, the Vextans were crying. Not from sadness, but from joy. Meanwhile, Dr. Lim was making her own discoveries in the Kepler system. The architect ship was even stranger up close. It was covered in symbols that hurt to look at, as if they were trying to twist space itself. This technology is beyond anything I have ever seen, she reported to Earth. The materials this ship is made from do not exist in our periodic table. The energy readings are off the charts. But there is something else. She paused, trying to find the right words. Admiral, I do not think the architects are the Empire's allies. I think they are the Empire's masters. Admiral Park's voice crackled over the communication link. Explain. The Imperial ships that come to meet this vessel move like they are afraid, Dr. Lim said. They approach slowly, they keep their weapons powered down, and they leave as quickly as possible. This is not how allies behave. This is how slaves behave around their owners. Are you saying the Empire is enslaved too? I think so. Admiral, what if the Empire is not the real enemy? What if they are just tools being used by something much worse? Before Admiral Park could reply, Dr. Lim's ship detected movement. A small craft was leaving the architect vessel, heading for a nearby planet. Dr. Lim decided to follow it. What she found changed everything. The planet was called Morden. It had once been home to a proud species of warriors who had fought the Empire for centuries. According to Imperial records, the Mordoon had finally been defeated and relocated to other worlds. The records were lies. Dr. Lim watched in horror as the architect craft landed near a massive facility on the planet's surface. Through her ship's sensors, she could see what was inside the facility. Bodies, millions of them. The entire Morden species had been killed and preserved in some kind of energy field. The architects were not just taking prisoners, they were collecting corpses. "Admiral," Dr. Lim whispered into her communicator, "we need to talk. Now." The emergency meeting was held in the most secure room on Earth. Dr. Lim's discovery was too terrible to risk being intercepted by Imperial spies. "The architects collect dead species," Dr. Lim reported. "I saw storage facilities on 12 different worlds. Every species the Empire has relocated is actually dead, stored in architect preservation chambers." "Why?" Dr. Kim asked. "What could they want with dead bodies?" "I do not know, but I found something else. The architects are not from this galaxy. Their ships use technology that could only be developed outside the Milky Way. They came here from somewhere else, and they brought the Empire with them." Admiral Park sat quietly for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. "So the Empire is not the real threat. They are refugees who were enslaved by these architects, and now the architects are using them to harvest our entire galaxy. That is what I believe," Dr. Lim said. "Then we need to change our strategy," Admiral Park decided. "Commander Kwan, I want you to accelerate the liberation campaign. Free as many worlds as possible, but also try to capture some Imperial officers alive. We need to learn more about their relationship with the architects." "Yes, sir." "Dr. Lim, can you get closer to one of those storage facilities?" "It would be very dangerous, but yes. Do it. We need to understand what the architects are really doing." "Admiral," Captain Lee said, "what if we are too late? What if the architects have already collected enough of what they want?" Admiral Park looked out the window at Earth, spinning peacefully in space. "Then we make sure they do not get what they came for. Humanity will not be another trophy in their collection." The meeting ended, but everyone knew the real war was just beginning. The Empire had been cruel masters, but the architects were something much worse. They were hunters, and every living being in the galaxy was their prey. Humanity would have to move fast if they wanted to save anyone, including themselves. The rescued architects sat in the most secure room on Earth, surrounded by human scientists and military officers. Its name was Zalon, and it looked nothing like what anyone expected. Where the Empire's species were solid and physical, Zalon seemed to be made of shifting light and shadow. Dr. Sun-Hee Lim had found Zalon in an Imperial prison, locked in a cage that drained its energy. The rescue mission had cost 3 human ships, but now they finally had answers to their questions. "Your species does not understand," Zalon said in a voice that sounded like wind through empty space. "The things you call architects are not our people. They are our jailers." Admiral Park leaned forward. "Explain." "Long ago, my people lived in the galaxy you call Andromeda. We were explorers, builders, teachers. We helped young species grow and learn. It was a good time." Zalon's form flickered, showing images of beautiful cities and peaceful worlds. Then they came. The Devourers. They do not have a name in your language because they are not truly alive. They are emptiness that seeks to fill itself by consuming everything else. The images changed, showing dark shapes moving between stars, leaving dead worlds behind them. The Devourers consumed all of Andromeda, every world, every species, every living thing. My people tried to fight, but you cannot fight emptiness with weapons. So we ran. "You came here," Dr. Kim said. "Yes, but the Devourers followed us. When we arrived in your galaxy, they were already here, waiting. They had learned from our escape. This time they would not let anyone run away." Zaylon's form grew darker. They captured most of my people and turned us into tools. The beings you call architects are my people, but they are not free. Their minds have been taken over. They serve the devourers now. General Teho Bay, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. What about the Empire? Are they working with these devourers willingly? No. The Empire's species were the first to arrive. In your galaxy, fleeing from Andromeda like we did. The devourers enslaved them too, but in a different way. The Empire thinks they are conquerors, but they are just harvesting tools. Everything they collect goes to feed the devourers. Admiral Park felt his blood turn cold. How long do we have? Not long. The harvesting of your galaxy is almost complete. When the devourers have enough energy, they will reveal themselves and consume everything at once. Your rebellion has forced them to move faster. Scientist Da Yun Cha, Earth's expert on space phenomena, had been studying readings from deep space. Admiral, I think I know what Zaylon means. Look at this. She showed them a map of the galaxy. Dark spots were scattered throughout, areas where space itself seemed twisted and wrong. These readings started appearing 6 months ago, Da-Yun explained. I thought they were natural phenomena, but now I understand. These are devourer ships, hidden in dark matter. They are already here. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The enemy was not coming. The enemy was already here, waiting. How many ships? Admiral Park asked. Millions, Da-Un replied. Maybe tens of millions. Each one is the size of a moon. We cannot fight that many enemies, General Bay said quietly. No, Zaylan agreed. But you do not need to fight them all. The devourers have one weakness. They are not truly alive, so they do not understand life. They see every species as separate, individual creatures. They do not understand unity. What do you mean? Dr. Kim asked. Your quantum linking technology, Zaylon explained. It is something the devourers have never seen before. In all the galaxies they have consumed, no species has ever learned to share consciousness. You are the first. Engineer Wu Jin Han, who had created the quantum linking system, looked excited. You mean we can use it against them? Perhaps. If you could link not just human minds, but all minds in the galaxy, you might create something. The devourers cannot consume. A unified consciousness across all species. Admiral Park saw the possibility, but also the problems. We would need cooperation from every species in the galaxy, including the Empire. That will not be easy, General Bay said. The Empire has been trying to kill us. Then we need to show them the truth, Admiral Park decided. If the Empire's leadership learns that they are slaves, not masters, they might join us. He turned to his communications officer. Prepare a galaxy-wide broadcast. I want every world to hear this. 3 hours later, Admiral Park stood before the cameras that would carry his message to billions of beings across the galaxy. Behind him stood Zaylon, whose presence would prove the truth of his words. People of the galaxy, Admiral Park began. I am Admiral Park of Earth. I speak to you now with urgent news. The Galactic Empire is not your ruler. The Empire's leaders are slaves, just like you, he gestured to Zaylon. This being will tell you the truth about who really controls your lives. Zaylon stepped forward, its form shimmering with light. I am Zaylon of the Architect people. What? You call architects are my people, enslaved by beings called devourers. These devourers have already consumed one galaxy completely. Now they are consuming yours. The aliens' words were translated into thousands of languages and broadcast to every world. The Empire believes they are conquerors, but they are harvesting tools. Every tribute they collect, every species they relocate, feeds the devourers. Soon, when the devourers have enough energy, they will consume everything, every world, every species, every living being. Admiral Park stepped forward again. But there is hope. Humanity has developed technology that can link minds across space. If every species in the galaxy joins together, we can create a unified consciousness that the devourers cannot consume. This is our choice, he continued. We can fight each other while the devourers prepare to destroy us all, or we can unite and face the real enemy together. Earth offers alliance to any species that wants to survive. The broadcast ended. Now they could only wait and see how the galaxy would respond. The first response came from an unexpected source. Imperial Admiral Kexran, commander of the 2nd Battle Fleet, requested a private meeting with human representatives. Captain Lee met the Imperial Admiral on a neutral space station. Admiral Kexran was a tall reptilian being with scales that changed color with his emotions. Right now, those scales were dark with fear. "Human," Admiral Kexran said, "is what you broadcast true? Are we slaves?" "Yes," Captain Lee replied. "Your people were enslaved when you first arrived in this galaxy. The devourers made you think you were free, but you have always served them." Admiral Kexran's scales flickered between colors. "I have suspected something was wrong for years. Orders that made no sense. Missions that seemed designed to waste lives rather than win victories. And the architects, we were always afraid of them, but we never questioned why." "Will you join us?" Captain Lee asked. "I will try, but many Imperial officers will not believe this. They have spent their whole lives thinking they were superior to other species. They will not easily accept that they were tools." "Then we will have to convince them," Captain Lee said. "Because if we cannot unite the galaxy, everyone dies." The meeting ended with a secret agreement. Admiral Kexran would try to turn other Imperial officers against their architect masters. In return, humans would share their quantum linking technology with willing Imperial forces. But even as they made plans, the devourers were making their own preparations. Deep in space, hidden ships began to move. The final harvest of the Milky Way galaxy was about to begin. Humanity had started a revolution, but they were running out of time. Soon they would learn if unity was stronger than emptiness, if life could triumph over the hunger that had already consumed an entire galaxy. Real battle was coming, and everyone in the galaxy would have to choose a side. The sky above Earth turned black as millions of devourer ships emerged from dark space. Each vessel was the size of a small moon, made of material that seemed to absorb light itself. They had been hiding for months, waiting for the right moment. To begin the final harvest, Admiral Boram Seo stood on the bridge of the United Fleet's flagship, watching the impossible sight through the main screen. Around her ship, the largest military force in galactic history had gathered. Human vessels flew alongside Imperial warships. Former slave species fought next to their old masters. Even some of the free architects had joined the battle. Enemy. "Count is still climbing," reported the sensor officer. "We are detecting over 10 million devourer vessels in this system alone." "And how many ships do we have?" Admiral Seo asked. 50,000, Admiral." The numbers were hopeless, but Admiral Seo did not show fear. She had been chosen to command this fleet because she understood what they were really fighting for. This was not about winning a military victory. This was about proving that life could resist emptiness. "Dr. Park, is the network ready?" she asked. Dr. Sung-Ho Park, the physicist who had figured out how to expand the quantum linking system, looked up from his instruments. "The connection is stable, Admiral. Every conscious being in the galaxy is now linked through the quantum field. Human, Imperial, freed slaves, architects, we are all connected." Admiral Seo nodded. She could feel it herself. The strange sensation of knowing that her thoughts were shared by trillions of other minds. It was overwhelming at first, but now it felt natural. She was still herself, but she was also part of something much larger. "Incoming. Transmission from the lead devourer ship," called the communications officer. "Put it on screen." The image that appeared was nothing like the aliens they had fought before. Supreme Harvester Korthaven was darkness given form, a shadow that hurt to look at directly. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from empty space itself. "Organic creatures," the Devourer said. "You have created something new, a linking of minds across species. This is interesting." "We are not afraid of you," Admiral Seo replied. "Fear is irrelevant. We have consumed thousands of galaxies. Billions of species have tried to resist us. All have failed. Your unity is clever, but it will not save you." "Maybe not," Admiral Seo admitted. "But we will not surrender." The Devourer's form shifted, becoming even darker. "We offer you a choice, organic creatures. Surrender willingly, and we will preserve some small portion of your galaxy. Continue to resist, and we will consume everything, leaving nothing behind." Admiral Seo felt the thoughts of every being in the fleet, every person, on every world. Fear, anger, determination, hope, all of it flowed through the quantum network. But underneath all those emotions, she felt something else. Unity. For the first time in galactic history, every living being was connected to every other living being. "We choose to stand," she said, speaking not just for humanity, but for all. Life in the galaxy. The Devourer made a sound like stars dying. "Then you choose extinction." The battle began. The Devourer weapons were unlike anything they had ever faced. Instead of energy beams or missiles, the enemy ships fired pure entropy. Beams of nothingness that erased whatever they touched. When a Devourer weapon hit a ship, the vessel did not explode. It simply stopped existing. But the United Fleet had advantages the Devourers did not expect. Every ship moved with perfect coordination, guided by the shared consciousness of the quantum network. When one pilot saw an enemy attack coming, every pilot knew about it instantly. When one species had an idea for a new tactic, every species could use it immediately. "They are adapting faster than predicted," reported the tactical officer. "Every time we destroy one of their ships, they learn from it and change their tactics." "Then we adapt faster," Admiral Seo replied. "All ships, implement random attack patterns. Do not let them predict our movements." The order went out through the quantum network, reaching every ship simultaneously. The United Fleet began fighting in ways that no military force had ever fought. Before, ships from different species combined their weapons in new patterns. Tactics from a dozen different cultures merged into strategies that had never been tried. But there were too many Devourers. For every enemy ship they destroyed, 10 more took its place. "Admiral," Dr. Park called out, "I am detecting something strange. The quantum network is growing stronger." "What do you mean?" "The more we fight together, the more connected we become. The network is not just linking our thoughts anymore. It is linking our life energy itself." Admiral Seo felt it too. Every being in the galaxy was becoming part of something larger, something that was more than the sum of its parts. The Devourers consumed individual lives, but they had never faced a unified consciousness before. "Can we use this against them?" Admiral Seo asked. "I think so. But it would be dangerous. If we channel all our life energy through the network at once, we might be able to create a barrier they cannot cross, but what? We might not survive it. The energy required would be enormous." Admiral Seo looked around her bridge. Her crew was made up of humans, Imperials, and former slaves working side by side. All of them knew they were probably going to die. But none of them wanted to give up. Through the quantum network, she could feel the thoughts of every being in the galaxy. They were all afraid, but they were all determined to fight. The Devourers had never faced anything like this before. "Do it," Admiral Seo ordered. "Channel everything we have into the network." Dr. Park's hands flew over his controls. "All stations, Prepare for maximum quantum integration. This is going to hurt. The change began slowly. Every being in the galaxy felt their individual consciousness start to merge with the unified network. It was like becoming part of a single massive mind that stretched across thousands of star systems. The Devourers noticed the change immediately. Their attacks became more desperate, more vicious. They had consumed many galaxies, but they had never faced a galaxy that fought back as one organism. "It's working," Dr. Park shouted. "The unified consciousness is creating a quantum field that the Devourers cannot penetrate." Supreme Harvester Korthvin appeared on screen again, its form flickering with what might have been fear. "What are you doing?" it demanded. "This is impossible. Individual organisms cannot truly unite." "You are wrong," Admiral Seo replied. "You have spent so long consuming life that you forgot what life really is. Life is connection. Life is unity. Life is choosing to stand together even when standing apart would be easier." The quantum field grew stronger. Every living being in the galaxy was now part of a single, unified consciousness. They were still individuals, but they were also something more. They were life itself, standing against emptiness. The Devourers tried to break through the quantum barrier, but their weapons passed through it harmlessly. They could consume individual lives, but they could not consume unity itself. "Impossible," Korthvin said again. "We have consumed 1,000 galaxies. We cannot be stopped by mere organic creatures." "You never faced organic creatures who chose to become something more," Admiral Seo said. "You consume individuals. But we are not individuals anymore. We are life itself, and life cannot be consumed." The Devourer fleet began to retreat, pulling back from the quantum barrier. For the first time in millions of years, they had encountered something they could not destroy. But Korthvin had one final card to play. "If we cannot have this galaxy," the Supreme Harvester said, "then no one can. We will trigger a cascade reaction that will destroy every star system. If we cannot consume you, we will ensure you cannot exist." The Devourer ships began to glow with dark energy. They were preparing to sacrifice themselves to destroy the entire galaxy. "Admiral," Dr. Park said urgently, "they are building up enough energy to cause every star in the galaxy to go supernova simultaneously. Even our quantum barrier cannot protect against that." Admiral Seo felt the fear of trillions of beings flow through the network, but she also felt their determination. "All ships," she broadcast through the quantum link, "prepare for the final push. We are going to stop them." "How?" asked Captain Lee from his ship. "By giving them what they have always wanted," Admiral Seo replied. "Unity." She opened her mind completely to the quantum network, letting every thought and feeling flow through it. Around the galaxy, every other being did the same. The network became so powerful that it started to affect space-time itself, if they want. "To consume consciousness," Admiral Seo said, "then we will give them all of ours at once. Every thought, every memory, every dream of every being in the galaxy, all flowing into them simultaneously." The unified consciousness of the galaxy reached out and touched the minds of the Devourers. For creatures that had spent eons consuming, emptiness, the sudden contact with so much life and thought was overwhelming. Korthvin screamed as millions of years of memories, emotions, and experiences flooded into its mind. The Devourers had always been empty, consuming others to fill the void inside themselves. But now they were being filled with more life than they could handle. One by one, the Devourer ships began to change. Instead of dark emptiness, they started to glow with the light of consciousness. The unity that had saved the galaxy was transforming its enemies.